You've probably done this math before. Take your cat's age, multiply by 7, and boom, you know how old it really is in human years? Except that formula is wrong. Not slightly off. Not an oversimplification. Actually wrong. Wrong enough that veterinarians have spent years trying to kill it. Because that one bad piece of math has been quietly causing real cats to miss real, preventable health problems for decades. Your cat isn't lying to you on purpose. The number everyone thinks they know is. Let's start with where the times 7 myth actually came from, because it's almost impressively arbitrary. The most common explanation traces back to a rough assumption made decades ago, that humans typically live to about 70. Cats typically live to about 10. So someone divided 70 by 10, got 7, and the multiplier stuck. It wasn't based on growth rates, bone development, organ maturity, or any actual biological marker. It was a back-of-the-envelope ratio between two average lifespans, and it spread so widely, so quickly, that most people today have simply never questioned it. It shows up on pet food bags, in casual conversation, in decades of media. It became true the way a lot of myths become true, through repetition, not through evidence. Here's the first place the formula falls apart, and it's a big one. Cats do not age at a steady, constant rate throughout their lives. The times 7 formula assumes a flat, linear multiplier. One cat year always equals 7 human years. No matter the cat's actual age, real feline biology looks nothing like that. A kitten's first year involves an almost absurd amount of development, skeletal growth, sexual maturity, brain development, all compressed into 12 months. Veterinary associations that study this properly, including feline medicine groups like the American Association of Feline Practitioners, have published detailed age conversion charts based on actual physiological milestones. And by their estimates, a 1-year-old cat is already roughly equivalent to a 15 or 16-year-old human, not 7. A 2-year-old cat lands closer to 24. After that initial sprint, the aging curve changes shape entirely, slowing down to roughly 4 human years for every additional cat year. It's not a straight line. It's a steep climb followed by a long, gradual slope. And the old formula completely ignores that shape. This matters more than it might sound like at first, because of what it does to owner behavior in that critical first year or two. Under the old 7 times myth, a 1-year-old cat gets mentally filed as roughly 7 years old, basically still a child. Owners relax. There's no urgency, no sense that anything adult level could possibly be wrong yet. Under the accurate chart, that same cat is already the physiological equivalent of a mid-teenager, fully capable of adult-level health issues, dental disease, early joint stress, weight-related complications that a genuinely 7-year-old human child would never be at risk for. The gap between those two numbers isn't just academic. It's the difference between an owner who schedules a real preventive checkup at the right time and one who assumes there's nothing to check yet. Now flip to the other end of a cat's life, where the myth causes a different, arguably more dangerous kind of confusion. Multiply a 12-year-old cat by 7 under the old formula, and you get 84. An almost unimaginably ancient age by human standards, the kind of number that makes any new symptom feel like an inevitable, unavoidable part of being impossibly old. Except the accurate veterinarian-endorsed conversion puts a 12-year-old cat closer to the mid-60s in human terms. Meaningfully old, absolutely, but nowhere near the extreme, almost otherworldly age the old formula implies. That difference changes how seriously an owner takes a new symptom. A cat that seems to be slowing down at what an owner believes is 84 gets written off as simply being ancient. The same cat, correctly understood as being in its mid-60s, is exactly the kind of age where a new symptom deserves an actual diagnostic workup, not a shrug. This is exactly the gap veterinarians increasingly worry about, and it's why so many feline veterinary organizations have spent real effort publishing corrected age charts and pushing back publicly against the 7 times formula specifically. It isn't a harmless rounding error. Studies and clinical experience consistently show that owners who mentally overestimate their cat's true age, thinking a healthy senior cat is essentially geriatric when it's actually more comparable to a human in their 60s, tend to underpursue treatable conditions, dismissing real addressable symptoms as simply old age, instead of bringing the cat in for evaluation. Meanwhile, owners who underestimate a young cat's true developmental age, believing a 1-year-old is still essentially a kitten, sometimes delay dental care, weight management, or basic preventive screening past the point where early intervention would have been most effective. There's a deeper reason this myth has been so hard to kill, and it says something interesting about how humans process animal aging in general. We tend to anchor everything to our own experience of a human lifespan, because it's the only aging timeline we intuitively understand from the inside. A single easy multiplier feels satisfying precisely because it translates an unfamiliar timeline into a familiar one instantly, without requiring anyone to learn an actual nonlinear curve. The problem is that feline biology never agreed to be translated that simply. Cats mature explosively fast in year 1, continue at a brisk pace through year 2, and then downshift into a slower, more gradual aging pattern for the rest of their lives, a shape that no single flat number could ever accurately represent, no matter how emotionally satisfying that one number feels to calculate. So the next time you find yourself doing that familiar times 7 math in your head, watching your cat curled up on the couch and mentally translating its age into something that feels more relatable, understand that you're not actually looking at the number you think you are. A 1-year-old isn't a child. A 12-year-old isn't ancient beyond comprehension. Somewhere between those two comfortable wrong assumptions is a much stranger, much more accurate curve, one that Zhao doesn't care how satisfying easy math feels, and one that, if you actually follow it, might be the difference between catching something early and simply assuming your cat is just getting old. If this changed how you think about your cat's real age, hit subscribe, because this channel keeps uncovering the ancient instincts and hidden science behind everyday things your cat does. And if you know someone who's been doing the times 7 math their whole life, send them this video. It might genuinely change how closely they watch their cat's health.